The Ron DeSantis War Room Twitter account dropped a video ad that's garnered a lot of attention. The ad attacks Donald Trump for being too friendly to the LGBT community. Now, here's a portion of the ad. Now, DeSantis, weasel that he is, shrewd, cunning little prick that he is, may have created the ad with the music that he chose specifically because he knew that people couldn't play it on YouTube without getting in trouble, because no one's playing the full version of this ad. And according to Russell said, David Dole said something about it. It's because the music is copyrighted. So we won't be able to give you the full musical experience. I'll add my music that's sort of similar to the music that he has under it. He has this sort of pulsing nightclub music under most of the ad. Yeah. But he starts out, the War Room says, Donald Trump, too friendly to the LGBT community. So here is Ron DeSantis trying to position himself to Trump's right on this issue. This is from the ad.
Everything.
Sorry, apologies.
I will do everything in my power.
Sorry, I got to get a clean start on this goddamn thing. All right, here we go.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens. Psych!
Now the music starts. Boom, 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 boom. The pulsing music. Boom, boom, boom.
Ice, ice,
boom,
baby.
boom, boom,
Too
boom,
cold,
boom.
too cold.
I'm a closeted
Ice,
gay.
ice,
That's
baby,
why I do this
cold,
ad. I'm Ron DeSantis and I'm gay.
You don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? You don't drink, don't
You're
smoke.
not supposed to know it, but I'm actually a gay man myself.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a little bit of a montage, basically a montage of Ron DeSantis trolling the LGBT community, the classic Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street image there. That's meme images. If you're a really online person, you'll recognize a lot of these images. One, this video was meant, obviously, to troll gay and trans people, which I do not approve of. It's very unstatesmanlike. It's extremely, extremely divisive, much more so than even Trump. That's the point of it. That's why he put it out. He says, I can trigger the libs, and I pose a threat not just to woke people, but to gay people. Like, he literally has photos there. He has, clips of, Mike Figueredo and all these alternative YouTube people. Right. It was really targeted to the young online sort of anti-woke, sort of Matt Walsh, Daily Wire.
Well, that's it, man.
Incel, maybe closeted gay audience. I would posit. I would float that as a possibility. Yeah, the Andrew Tate. Exactly. And he got a lot of pushback, not just from the left, obviously, but even from a lot of the right. And this this goes back to what Glenn Greenwald was talking about in our previous segment. These will be clipped separately for YouTube, in the coming days. But Greenwald mentions how we had won this battle. Like, we had achieved this great victory in gay rights to the point where it is now mainstream, even in conservative circles, to harbor no animosity towards gay and trans people as a whole. And that's why you're getting a lot of pushback even from the right. Here's Karl Rove. Karl Rove, easily on my list of top 10 most loathsome political figures in the last century. But here he is making exactly that point about how DeSantis really had the culture war won in terms of rejecting the excesses of the sort of, LGBT movement, the sort of more like militant factions that we just talked about in the last segment when it comes to drag shows in front of kids and certain books in schools and things like that. But then he took it to this place where he clearly just wanted to communicate to his base that he is a threat to gay and trans people, which is just completely over the line. Here's Karl Rove saying this.
So, Karl, I want to know what you make of this. DeSantis jumped headfirst into this roaring debate about treatment or mistreatment of LGBTQ Americans. Seems like an unforced error.
Yeah, look, at the heart of it, it is mystifying. Let's start off by that. But at the heart of what he has done are things that have a great deal of popularity. He has signed a law saying biological males cannot participate in women's sports. He said we won't have discussion of gender in kindergarten through, I think it's grade 3 or 4, and we will only have age-appropriate sex education after that. These are the kind of things that people are strongly in favor of, but this ad makes it look like he glories, or his campaign is glorying in attacking the LGBTQ community, and I do think it's an unforced error. I mean, he's got a record that he could take to people and say, I stand for traditional values and here's what I've done. And the kind of things that I mentioned earlier are, like 2-to-1 winners. But this was an odd video delivered at an odd time. And maybe they wanted the controversy. If they did, they're getting it.
All right. Now, I mentioned earlier in this live stream that George W. Bush won re-election in 2004 because he put gay marriage up as a referendum, as a ballot initiative in the state of Ohio. And they drove up anti-gay sentiment in Ohio, and that's what brought out the evangelical vote, and that's what put George W. Bush over the top in that race. That was Karl Rove's idea to do that. Of course, yeah. So this guy set the gay rights movement back a very long way on purpose for the most cynical and opportunistic reasons. And even he, 19 years later, is coming out and saying, hey, it's one thing to come out against drag shows and sex ed for first graders and, the litany of issues that DeSantis has built his brand on. It's another thing to just troll gay people as a people. He's like, you can't do that. Even this guy is saying you can't do that. So look, DeSantis is a sick fucking bastard. And what Russ has said before is that a lot of the excesses of the gay and trans movement now have empowered that sort of backlash. At the same time, I feel like this is how culture wars get stoked, because now what DeSantis has just done with this ad is he has given credibility to a lot of the extremists on the other side who says, yeah, they are coming for us, because there is no gay conservative who watches that ad who thinks Ron DeSantis wants his vote, right? I mean, there's just no way you could feel welcome in that coalition after seeing such a vile, obnoxious, unstatesmanlike video.
Yes. Just on a horse race level, like, what are they doing? Like, this isn't just, oh, we're crazy. Yeah, they're going after, they feel clearly, I mean, this is how I'm reading it. Strategically, they're trying to chip away at what they see as Trump's coalition. And with an ad like this, they're going after the Tim Pool. They're going after the Daily Wire, as you say. Like, they're going after the very online, younger right. I think they feel that they're going to be easier to get, that they're more likely to go for that kind of an image, like Top Gov, who passed all this legislation and is fighting woke. I say what I've said all along. You're seeing a lot of stories. Oh, DeSantis is done. DeSantis is done. Listen, that's worth as much as somebody covering a prize fight going, he's on the ropes. He's on the ropes. That doesn't tell you how the fight's going to end, right? Like, that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to gin up your excitement and come up with narratives that are eye-catching. It's a long way to the vote. And Trump has a lot of troubles that he's going to have to deal with between now and then. Is this strategy effective for the audience that it's for? Probably. Is it worth what it costs them with other people?
Right. That's the issue. That's the thing.
It's hard to say. In the long run, this is so early. It's not like this is the thing that he's never going to be able to get out from under, right? I mean, these are smart people. If they see this didn't work for them, they'll shift away, or they'll say, as when we were talking about this offline, they'll say, no, we're just talking about the activists. We're not talking, like, they'll come up with some way to soften it.
Well, just to add a little context, at the beginning, when Trump says we will protect our LGBT citizens, he was speaking in reference to the Orlando nightclub shooting, which happened in the summer of 2016. Right. Trump was not president yet. So that's what he was speaking in reference to. But Trump was also saying we will protect them from a foreign hateful ideology. So it was actually Trump using gay people to demagogue against Muslims, right? And DeSantis clipped it out of context. Well, not totally out of context, but to make it look like that was, somehow more woke than he is. But, it was at Trump's RNC that Peter Thiel, by the way, shout out to our Rumble audience. See, now we're mentioning Peter Thiel in a positive light, which, as I understand, we're allowed to do on Rumble. So we are simping for Peter Thiel here, right?
Does he own Rumble? Is that?
I think he owns Rumble, right? It's major investment. That's the name you're not allowed to criticize, I think. But when he took the stage, he says, I'm a proud gay man, a proud American, and a proud
Trump
Republican. No, that was Peter Thiel said that on the stage. The room erupted in applause. It was this very moving moment. And even
hang on,
Trump,
Peter Thiel is gay?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter Thiel's gay, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, openly gay libertarian billionaire. You made me self-conscious there. I had to check it because I'm like, I hope that better be right.
No, that's funny, man. I didn't know that.
Well, he said on the floor of the RNC, I'm a proud gay man, a proud Republican, a proud American, and they gave him a standing ovation. Yeah.
All right.
So if you're trying to get to the right of him, the only way to get to the right of Trump on this is to go in such an extreme way that even Karl Rove says, whoa, you got to pull back. Right. Well, when you start getting to the right of Trump on these kinds of issues, it means you've gone way too far because Trump himself knows he pushes it right. Like if Trump could get away with going any further, he would, but he knows he can't. And so, yeah, I do think this was on balance an error because most conservatives now are not on board with bullying gay people. Right. And this was bullying. This was a bullying, trolling, divisive, intentionally divisive ad.
Well, a lot of us said during the Trump years that a lot of the actions that were being taken by the establishment left or the Democrats or whatever you want to call them were going to make Trump's successor make Trump look like a birthday present. And DeSantis definitely qualifies as that figure.
Please clap.